Let's go.
What up, my guys? On to another show, man. Wednesday, NBA Talk with Jay, my guys. We got our guy, Ronald Cabang, with us in the house. My brother, you Capper Sports. What's up with you, Ronald? How you doing, my brother? Everything cool with you?
Yeah, everything's good. NBA has been treating me well. It was a nice to have the All Star break. It was a good reset for me. So yeah, things been really going really well from that aspect. But yeah, man, I'm ready to go for this slate here. It's actually a pretty nice slate.
Nah,
It
that's a
looked
fact.
ugly initially, but I'm starting to like the things a little bit more here.
Yeah, no, that's a fact. I remember yesterday I was looking at the slate and I was like, man, I don't really like shit, man. Then before you know it, I end up coming up with all these damn plays. Wants to just looking deeper into games, man. But I'm right there with you. I needed that All Star break like more than the players, man. I was like limping to the. I was getting mentally exhausted. It was just it was starting to be too much for me. But I really need that break to reset. Didn't think about NBA for like 7 days, man. But we back. Let's try to get this cash, man. I'm not really worrying about anything else, man. My phone on do not disturb. I'm just locked in right now. I'm just trying to get this cash, man. But it's all love. We appreciate everybody in the chat as well, guys. If you guys like the show, if you really do appreciate the info that we come on here and give out, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share the show, all that good stuff, man. Let's get straight down to business in this one, Ronald. First game up. Let's head over to the streets of Indianapolis. No All Star game, but we do got the Pacers here laying 6 points at the house versus the New Orleans Pelicans in this one. And I'm on the Pacers here, man. I think the Pacers might win this game by double digits. I feel like this could possibly be a scheduled loss for the Pelicans in this game. They probably get back CJ McCollum. I don't care. I like the Pacers here in a bounce back J spot. And these two teams play again in New Orleans the next game, Ronald. So maybe that's the spot where the Pelicans could probably get some get back here. But back to back, third game in 4 nights, fourth and six, fifth game in 7 nights for the Pelicans here. I think these guys are going to be running on fumes in the second half of this game here, Ronald. Give me the Pacers here. How you like it? How you looking in this game?
Yeah, I'm with you here. I actually took it last night as well. I think you may have gotten a better number than me. I got the 5.5. I still like it at 6. Like you said, this is a situation where we could see the Pacers win by double digits. I was on the Pelicans yesterday. They took care of business against
Facts.
the Knicks, right? And then you see the Pacers here. They kind of been up and down since the beginning of the calendar year. To me, I think it has a lot to do with sort of like their roster. The roster makeup. They've had injuries. They've traded some players. They had some roster movement there. One thing from a total perspective, I didn't really touch the total, but I know the Pacers. They sort of been an under team since like mid-December. They've been super profitable to the under there.
Mm-hmm.
I know you mentioned CJ. He's been upgraded to questionable after missing yesterday's game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's going to be that big of a difference. Obviously, it's going to help that team, but from a matchup perspective, I think that's where it kind of pushed me towards the Pacers. To me, when you look at recent form for both of these teams, obviously it's going to be like a offensive team versus a defensive team. But the matchup here, I think the advantage from the 3-point line and the free throw rate factor there for the Pacers is where the advantage lies for them. And then obviously you brought up the whole scheduling aspect of the Pelicans, right? Their second leg of back-to-back games. They're also, all those other pieces, right? Fifth game in 7 nights. Also, the last 2 games, including travel. So the travel fatigue is there. I know the Pacers are 3rd and 4, but they didn't have to. They're not on the second leg of back-to-back games, so there's somewhat
Mm-hmm.
of a rest advantage there too. So from a side perspective, like I said, I did take the Pacers. I still think the 6 is good. From a total perspective, I would lean under, but I'm not going to touch it.
Yeah, it's what's crazy. There's been a ton of unders in the NBA lately, man. Unders has been going absolutely crazy the past few days. I mean, this one. Shout out to my guy Adam Larkin in the chat. Shout out to my guy. Shout out to everybody in the chat, but my guy Danny, my guy as well, man. These guys are always showing love every single day, man. Every year, all that type of shit. Shout out to Kivo as well, man. But yeah, could be like a schedule loss type of spot here for the Pelicans. In my opinion, it's their first time playing 5th game in 7 nights all season. I just feel like this is a spot. Like I looked at this yesterday. I mean, most of people know, like when I do my work for the day, and once my bets are made, I'm already on to the next nice card. Like sometimes you just got to be ahead of it. You see what I'm saying? So this spot was very apparent to me yesterday in this one. So but yeah, I like the Pacers in this one. I won't have regrets regardless of what happens. I know that it's the spot. Things aren't going to cash 100%, but you got to have confidence in yourself and in your work, and you just take your spots and you trust it, and that it's going to win at least 60, 65, maybe even 70% of the time in this one, man. So we liking the Pacers. That's my top spot of the day for today, Ronald. And like I say, them unders been cashing. I don't really bet totals at all, Ronald, but this is just a Pacer spot for me. You got anything else on this one?
Nah, I'm with you here on the Pacers.
Let's get straight to it, man. Let's go over here to the next game, man. Let's go over to the streets of Minnesota in this one. Wolves land 12 at the house versus the Grizzlies in this one, getting 12 on the road. Cat is expected back in this one, so I don't know if you necessarily have to wait for that. They did say he had, I believe, like a childhood friend had passed away or something like that, something along those lines there. So he was out for one game. Finch says that he only expects him to be out one game, so I would expect Cat to be back here. First of all, I mean, this team was up 24 yesterday. I don't know how in the hell I was doing the Action Network podcast, and before you know it, it was like an 8-point game. I was on the Spurs plus 13.5, and I was just like, all right, that's probably going to be the one loss today. Before you know it, they creep back in there, and that's what I expect the Wolves to do when they're landing. We know, guys, and this is what I teach you guys, man. When these teams that have like the number one seed and they have aspirations to go deep in the playoffs, when they get towards the end of the year, they're going to start pulling their guys. They're going to start lacking on defense and kind of just like let teams come back. And that's exactly what the Wolves did yesterday. Now, I don't know if I want to bet the Grizzlies on the road, to be perfectly honest with you. They are coming off a game where they got absolutely smoked. I do think this is one of the underdogs today that could possibly cover here, Ronald. But I just honestly, I don't really have a really good feel on this one. And you talk about unders. This line opened up at 215, 214, and it's down to 209. It was 210 before the show, now down to 209. So and this isn't the only under that's gotten absolutely steamed today as well, Ronald. What do you think about this game?
Yeah, I didn't touch this game at all. There was too many like counters to both sides, right? There's situations where I can see Grizzlies covering. There's situations where I see Wolves covering because they pretty much dominated this Grizzlies team all season long. I think they faced each other 3 times. They won each game by like 15. Obviously the Grizzlies haven't been winning games, but they've been covering. They covered 11 of the last 16 games, and most of the time it's just because of inflated numbers, right? Inflated spreads. I know the Wolves, they just failed to cover as double-digit favorites against the Spurs, like on 2 days rest, like you just mentioned that game. But they had 2 days rest. Now they're asking them to cover as double-digit favorites on the second of back-to-backs. That's tough to do. But like I said, from a matchup perspective, it seems like the Wolves got their number. They just been dominating them all season long. Also, I looked at these lower totals, right? You mentioned how the total's been going down. We don't see like totals under 220 too often, but obviously with the Grizzlies and the Wolves with slow pace and defense and all that stuff, we see that often. But the Wolves, when they have these lower totals, less than 220, they're 15-2 straight up, 12-5 against the spread, and 11-6 to the over. So, from that aspect, I think the one way, if I was to bet anything on this game, I wouldn't even touch the side or the full game total. I would just say the Wolves team total over. I think that would be the way to go because they touched 118 on all 3 matchups against the Grizzlies, and I'm not too sure what the team total is right now, but my model has them at 116. So I think they can get over it.
That's a great look there. That's a great. I'm still trying to figure out the Grizzlies. I don't know. I really be telling people the fate of these teams, but I just don't like to say it too much because like just people like fans and shit or get all riled or get their panties in a bunch. But that's just not really sure what to do with the Grizzlies. You never know when they're going to show up. You never know when they're going to get blown out by 30 points to the Brooklyn Nets as well at the house. So it's just a really tough team to figure out. But I could definitely see that Wolves team total overhitting, and I don't know what to do with the side because you never know if the Wolves, like, they know that they facing up against a G League Grizzlies team here, and they could kind of just come in and be like, you know what? I don't really care about we don't care about playing defense. Like when you play hard defense, that's when you risk injury. Like, trust me, I know all my injuries that I've gotten have came from me playing defense, man. So the Wolves probably can come out here, put up 115 to 120 points, not necessarily having to play tough defense as well. So it's I like what Ronald does with those team totals because you don't care if they cover the spread or not. You just need them to go out there and and handle business on offense, which we know in today's NBA, offense means a whole lot more than defense. So that's a good look there, Ronald. Possibly looking towards Wolves on the team total over now, and that would probably be the way that I would go in this one as well. Let's get over here to a great game here, Ronald. Raptors getting 3 points at the house versus the Dallas Mavs. In this one, Raptors coming off their first 3-game win streak of the season. They had a little dinner. The coach told them if they ever won 3 straight games, this is crazy. It took them this fucking long. But if they ever won 3 straight games, that he would treat them to a dinner or whatever, like on him. See what I'm saying? And I know if it's me, if I'm going out, let me get a couple. It's on you? All right, bet. Let me get I want 4 drinks. We getting glasses of wine. Now bring the whole bottle of wine since it's on you. Now I'm messing with you. But I would lean towards the Mavs here, Ronald. This is a bounce back J spot for the Mavs coming off a really tough loss. Game winner. PJ thought he had it. You see what I'm saying? He thought he had the game winner, and then you still got to play defense. It's time left. There was still a crazy shot by Strus. I'm talking about, like, it was a perfect shot. Who swishes a half-court shot, Ronald, at the buzzer? That shit was crazy there. But they did lose. This is a revenge spot. They lost earlier this season, 127-116 at the house as well. That's obviously when the Mavs were trash. They hadn't lost 3 straight games since January 24th. They need a big win before going to Boston here. I lean towards the Mavs here, Ronald, even though they are at the rest disadvantage and they got to go through customs and all that to Toronto. I think they're a much more deeper team, and I think they're a much more desperate team as well in the Western Conference, where you need every win that you can get, especially after dropping there last night. It's Luka's birthday as well, Ronald. I lean towards the Mavs here.
Shit, I didn't even know that part. But I actually did take the Mavs yesterday or last night. I did take them. I feel confident in this play. I know you mentioned some pieces that I was worried about too, right? The second back-to-back plus the travel international, right? I think we talk about that a lot as far as like going to Toronto. But obviously that coming off of that tough loss yesterday, I mean, Strus, dude, I know not only the half-court winner, but I think he made like 5 threes in the last 3 or 4 minutes. He was just on fire. I mean, that was a Mavs game that they could have won, that they should have won probably any other time, like 99% of the time. But Strus was just on fire. With that said, second leg of back-to-back games, the Mavs are actually pretty decent. They're 6-3 against the spread in that situation. And if they're on the road, they're actually 4-0 against the spread. So they haven't failed to cover in that spot there. I know the Raptors, they look like they're on fire right now, 3 straight. Covered 4 straight actually in that going before the All-Star break. But if you look at these games that they faced, they've been catching teams that were sort of like in bad spots, right? Nets, they cut the Nets. They've been struggling altogether. I think they failed to score 100 in like 4 out of the last 5 games or something. So obviously they were going to dominate those teams. That team, Hawks were rusty. They were playing their first game off the All-Star break, but the Hawks were still able to put up 121 on them. And then the Pacers were on the second leg of back-to-back games, still put up 122 against those guys. And none of those teams that they faced in the last 3 games play solid defense either. I think to me, the Mavs, if you look at their last 10 games, they've been a really good defensive rated team. Last 10, top 10 in defensive rating. So I think this is going to be the best matchup they've seen after the All-Star break. And to me, I think if you look at the situation, how the Raptors look, you would think that maybe they would be, closer to even pick them or whatever it might be. But in my opinion, I think this is a Mavs spot. If you look at the situation at home against teams on the second leg of back-to-back games, Raptors are 0-3 against the spread. So they're not taking advantage of these teams who should have tired legs. Another big trend here, but to back the Mavs, 11-3 straight up and against the spread as road favorites, including 5-1 straight up and against the spread if they're a non-conference opponent. So a lot of things to me pointed towards the Mavs more than it did the Raptors. So that's why I took them last night.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. And like you say, I mean, obviously the Raptors won 3 straight, covered 4 straight. But you nailed it. Who the fuck have they been playing? Now, their win versus the Pacers was a really good win, even though it was a letdown spot for the Pacers coming off a big win versus the Mavs the night before. We know the Pacers just didn't have it. They beat the Hawks by 2, which was a good win. They beat them without RJ Barrett, but still, I mean, it's the Hawks. And you beat the Nets. Like, it's like, wow. You see what I'm saying? Like, they're not really beating world beaters, whereas the Mavs, they were kicking ass and taking taking names versus whoever was in front of them. Really good wins versus Phoenix. Now they beat San Antonio, the Wizards. They smoked the Thunder there. The Mavs did. I mean, I'm talking about really good wins. They beat the Knicks as well. They beat the 76ers when the Sixers weren't super down in the dumps. Then it was a good win for the Mavs there. So Mavs coming off 2 straight losses. I just feel like this is almost a must-win spot. Like, you're going to Boston next game. You're facing up against the best team in the league. Like, if you lose this game, you could be facing 4 straight losses. The Mavs just can't really afford that as well. Luka obviously going for the MVP as well. This is his birthday. I think this is a big spot for the Mavs here. I heavily lean towards the Mavs. Like, lately, I kind of just been going with my gut and betting everything. If I'm betting this game, it's Mavs. It's simple. It's Mavs. I'm only looking towards Mavs. Raptors aren't a bad team, but I just don't think they're on the same level as the Mavs. So I'd be looking towards Mavs -3 in this particular spot, Ronald. Let's get over here to another great spot, man. Bulls getting 5.5 points at the house versus the Cleveland Cavaliers in this particular spot. And you just got to, I mean, Ronald, bro, me and you could fucking go out there and shoot better than 7% from 3. Like, what? And I'm dead serious as well. I'm not shooting. I don't think they could shoot 2 for 29 from 3 if they tried to miss every one of them motherfuckers. Like, dead serious, man. It was absolutely horrible. Now, I'm glad it was. Obviously, we was on the Pistons yesterday, but it was just a horrible game for the Bulls. They were up. Like, I'm watching the game. I'm like, bro, the Pistons finna do this shit to me. They were down like 11-12 in the first half. Before you know it, they get down to 5 at the end of the first half, and then they go on this run in the second half. I'm just like, thank you, Pistons. Shit, man. But this is a bounce back J spot for the Bulls here, especially coming off a loss from laying double digits here. They've lost 7 straight games to the Cavs, Ronald. They've lost 3 games this year versus the Cavs. This is a triple revenge spot. Cavs 0-6 against the spread in their last 6 games, and they got lucky last night as well. Probably a game that they probably shouldn't have won. Yeah. Also, another spot, back to back. 3rd game in 4 nights. 4th game in 6 nights. 5th game in 7 nights for the Cavs, and they're laying points on the road now. And the line is growing as well. And I just feel like this could be an absolute dead zone spot for the Cavs here, possibly a scheduled loss type of spot. I really don't like that Caruso left last night's game with a hamstring. He's been a little banged up. He is one of the more important players for the Bulls, but I could only look towards the Bulls as a home dog here. Unfortunately, they're on the back-to-back as well, but they didn't have to travel anywhere. Triple revenge spot last time facing the Cavs. This is their best chance to get a win over the Cavs. Over that streak of them losing 7 straight. I think the Bulls might shock the world tonight and beat these Cavs outright here, Ronald. What do you think? Should we take the 5.5 with the home underdog here?
Yeah, I like that you said that. I like all the things that you said. I mean, the 5th game is 7, failed to cover. I mean, a lot of those great points that I had in my notes as well. But I did actually take the Bulls last night. I got a bad number. I got 4.5. I was confident in that play. It's up to like 5.5 already. So I mean, obviously, I like it. I would still take it, obviously. But I think you brought up a lot of great points. The other piece of it was, I think the Cavs offense has been struggling lately, and that's probably going to be their downfall today. I know they're coming off that big, sort of like a high emotional win yesterday with that half court winner, but there's also that travel fatigue, the letdown spot, and the travel fatigue as well that you mentioned. I know, like you mentioned, the Bulls are on the second leg of back-to-back games as well. They did lose outright to the Pistons. I was on the Pistons as well, so I love that. And then, you mentioned the double-digit favorites, and you brought it up here before. Actually, you bring it up all the time, and I just wanted to make sure that you had the numbers to go with it. It's always been historically it's been profitable to back teams coming off an outright loss as double-digit favorites, right? And if you just look at the last 2 seasons alone, if you blindly tail that specific situation, it's like 60% cover rate, right? So that's already an edge that you have, just looking at that alone. But I do think that the Bulls bounce back offensively. The Cavs, they're probably just going to continue to struggle offensively. Like I said, that letdown spot, the travel situation, and also the Cavs, on second leg of back-to-back games, they've struggled more than the Bulls have in that same situation. So I did take the Bulls. I would also lean towards the under. I do think that the Cavs will struggle on the offensive side of the ball here.
Yeah, and this one, the under dropped from. I mean, this total was it. So I mean to say about the Dallas and Raptors game, that total dropped 5 points. This one, like people are getting on these unders, man. Even though there's not a ton of defense in today's NBA, this one dropped from 221 to 216, guys. So you're seeing a lot of movement on these totals, man. This shit is absolutely crazy. I think that's the third game of today that's dropped like more than 5 points, man. Shit, you never really see shit like that. But like
Yeah.
I said, I've noticed unders have been cashing like crazy, man. But yeah, I can only look towards the Bulls here. It's a major risk advantage, and it's a spot that I would never lay points. To be perfect, fifth game in 7 nights back to back. Like I'm never laying 5.5 there. I think the Bulls plus the 5.5 is the right side. I might end up getting there, man. I know that the Cavs are the much better team, but they're coming off an emotional high, and they could really run out of gas in the second half of this game, especially versus a Bulls team that's been playing really great defense as well, man. So Bulls plus 5.5 is the only way that I'm looking. I think the Cavs might be starting to hit somewhat of a wall. Let's go over to the streets. Then my guy in the chat, he fucking loves this game, man. Apparently, my guy didn't post this shit about 5 times in the chat. Pretentious prodigy. He likes the Nuggets here laying 7.5. And guess what? I can't fucking talk you off. Nuggets laying 7.5 here at the house versus the Kings, getting 7.5 on the road. This is a triple revenge spot for the Nuggets. Ronald, they've faced the Kings 3 times this season. They lost all 3 times as well. This is a bounce back J spot for the Nuggets, and they're starting to play well as well. They're 3-0 against the spread and straight up. They just went and beat up on the Warriors. I'm still pissed from that game. I had the Warriors there. They were up 16 in the first half. Before you know it, they let the fucking Nuggets close on a 14-0 run, and then immediately I started sweating. It was tied game, and they came out there in the third quarter and smacked them, man. So maybe the Nuggets are back. They got revenge. They're at the house. I want to go to this game. I got to do a podcast. I'm lobbying for these guys to do it a little earlier. I would really like to go to this Nuggets game because they don't lose when I go to their games, but can only look towards Nuggets here, land 7.5. I know the Kings are playing better, coming off a loss here, Ronald, but the Nuggets seem like they're trying to turn up. I think they get the job done tonight. What do you think about landing 7.5 with our guy, Pretentious Prodigy, in the chat?
Man, you know what? This is one where I'm opposite. I do think that the Kings. I like the Kings in this spot here. Obviously, they're coming off that outright loss to the Heat. I was on that Heat game too. I think you were on that too as well. So I love that. But you know, one of the reasons I took the Heat was because of the sandwich spot. This is a situation where I feel like the Kings were looking ahead to this one. Obviously, the big question mark is Fox, right? He's been downgraded to questionable, so you got to worry about his status. But Nuggets coming out the break, they have turned things around. 3-0 straight up, 3-0 against the spread, 3-0 to their team total over. So you know their offense is a big part of their recent success, because before these 3 games, they went under their team total in 12 of 13 games prior to the All-Star break. So something switched. Their offense is clicking. But one thing that I looked at in this situation where that kind of pointed me towards the Kings here, the road dog situation, right? They're not winning these games, but they are covering at a pretty decent rate, 10-6 against the spread. But if you say that the opponent is within the conference, they take these games a little bit more seriously. 8-3 against the spread, 8-2-1 to the under. So they step up defensively in this spot. They allow 111.6 points per game. That's 6 points less than their season average. So they know how important these games are on the road and within the conference. And if you look at the games, 11 games in that situation there, they weren't playing cupcakes. They played the Suns twice, Clippers twice, Mavs, Thunder, Nuggets a couple weeks ago. So they took care of business there as far as that game. And if you look at the Mavs here, travel situation at home, where obviously they're really great, but the first game home off at least 2 games on the road. So that travel situation there, 2-5 ATS, 6-1 to the under. Their offense struggles in that spot. It was the same situation 2 weeks ago against the Kings, 98-102 loss to the Kings there. So those things pointed me towards the Kings here, 7.5, but obviously, or even the 8 now. But obviously, if you haven't taken it yet, I would wait for the status of Fox, because that's like invaluable to this.
Huge.
Yeah. So
That's
I would
huge.
say wait for Fox News if you haven't touched it yet. But I would lean towards the Kings in this one for obvious reasons that I just mentioned.
Yeah, no, it's a fact. Yeah, Fox he's a huge part to their team, man. You're gonna be relying on motherfuckers like Davion Mitchell coming off the bench, man. Chris Duarte isn't bad, but when he's popped up as questionable with a knee contusion, That's not really good, in my opinion, especially because Fox has been a little banged up. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but he's dealing with a right shoulder injury. He's been dealing with an ankle or leg issue or something like this. So the fact that he pops up here with a knee contusion, that's not good. Not if the Kings, like, if you, I mean, do you want your season to be over? You see what I'm saying? So I didn't take the Nuggets -7.5, but it's the only way I could look. I just really love triple revenge spots, especially when they're faced. I believe this is the last time that the Nuggets are facing up against the Kings for the rest of the season. So this is your ultimate chance to get the revenge. They played them really close to last game. The Kings were just hitting some absolutely insane shots in there with, man. But I think that I do think that the Kings are frauds, man. I know they've been beating some teams, but I think that the Kings are frauds. That's just what I think. I think the Nuggets did also. I know that they haven't been good coming back to the house. Off a little road trip, but just watching the Nuggets, they've been coming to play in these last few games. They know that they've lost all three to the Kings. I really do feel like this game could get ugly, man. Especially when they lost the last one at the house versus the Kings. And be like, all right, we got something for these motherfuckers, man. So I really feel like I mean, whether Fox plays or not, I think this is a total Nugget spot here. Now, unfortunately, there's like a bunch of favorites that I like today, but those are the spots that I'm liking. And I mean, it is what it is, man. But I do heavily lean towards the spicy Nuggets here, laying the 7.5 in this particular game. And like I said, I want to go to this game. I want to, like, if Fox plays, then I want to go. If he's not playing, I'm not going to see that fucking version of the Kings. I'm just not. But I do lean towards the Nuggets here in this game, my guys. Let's go over to the streets of LA in this one, man. The two home teams fighting it out with each other in the same fucking arena. Last night I was like, oh, the Lakers won the first couple home games. Bro, they play in the same fucking arena, man. But I do lean to the Clippers here. Yeah, I do lean to the Clippers. Remember, these guys have kind of been owning the Lakers. Remember, the Lakers had owned them for years. Now the Clippers have damn near owned them. I believe they had won like 11 or 12 straight in the series. Now the Lakers won the first two matchups this season. They won the first one in overtime. Then they won 106-103. And then the Clippers got the job done 127-116. There's no Paul George here, but I still feel like the Clippers are still a much more complete team, a much better coached team. I think the Lakers, I think they're starting to fall off the rails. That's just me, and y'all know that I kind of have a good feel for the Lakers, but I do feel like this team just doesn't have it this year. I feel like they didn't have it. D'Angelo Russell's kind of slowed down. He was going crazy when he was about to get traded. Ever since the trade deadline, it's like, oh, okay, shit, I'm good now. You know, I ain't getting traded, so I'm cool now. They get Cam Reddish back, but I feel like the Clippers, this is a bounce back spot coming off a bad loss versus the Sacramento Kings that we're just talking about. 123-107. They hadn't lost back-to-back games in their last 10 games. They are only 1-6 against the spread last 7. You never know what you're going to get from the Clippers, but I do feel like I'm only looking towards the Clippers in this spot. To be honest with you, Ron, if they had Paul George and I was laying 5.5, I'd be taking it here. But how are you looking at this game?
Yeah, this one's tough. I mean, obviously Paul George is a big piece of that Clippers squad, but they've been covering games without him. You mentioned some of the Lakers' downfall right now. Like they failed to cover 3 straight since the All-Star break, falling under their team total in all 3 games, so their offense isn't clicking as well. Front end of back-to-back games too. So that's not a good schedule spot. But like you mentioned, the Clippers failed to cover 6 of their last 7 games. They've been struggling on both sides of the ball, right? At least. To me, at least, I think if I look at last 10 games, if I have that correctly, but last 10 games, Clippers offensively are bottom 10 in the league. Defensively, they're actually 28th in the league in defensive rating. So that's a spot that I'm worried about. From the Lakers' perspective, they should be able to take advantage of the paint, right? And also the other piece is points in the paint and dominating turnovers, points off turnovers. So those are 2 things that, even though they've been struggling altogether offensively, in the long run, that's 2 things that they do well at, and that's where the Clippers are struggling for the most part. If you look at the last 5 to 10 games in recent form, one thing that kind of points me towards the Lakers here: the Lakers have not won a regular season series against the Clippers since 2011. Since 2011, they have a chance to do that tonight. If they get this win tonight, they have a chance to win the regular season series for the first time in over 12 or 13 years, whatever that is.
Man.
So, I mean, that to me, I don't know if that's something that they look at as far as like motivation. But I mean, I would, in my opinion. I know there's, the revenge factor and all those other things, but for the most part, to me, this is another one that I would probably look towards the other way here. I think Lakers might be this spot, but AD questionable and LeBron questionable. If you want to wait, I would say wait.
Yeah, now AD is probable. LeBron's question was probably going to play. That's a good point there with the motivational spot. I still lean Clippers, but this is one that like I'll tell you, and we finna get out of here right now. I do lean to the Clippers, but that's one that I'm probably going to stay away from. But Pacers are my top play today, but two really honorable, really three of them, to be honest with you. Three of them, like if I'm really just going to bet all my leans like I should, it would be Mavs, Bulls, and Nuggets as well. I like the spots for all three of those teams as well. Slight lean to the Clippers. Pacers is the top spot. Trying to go 3 for 3 on the quest to these bands. You see what I'm saying? To the three is trying to go for 3 out of 3 on the quest for a 7 out of 7. You see what I'm saying? So Pacers top player today. Right after that, and very honorable mentions. And the spots favors these teams. Mavs -3, Bulls +5.5, and Nuggets -7.5. Ronald, what you liking today, my brother? Before we get out of here.
Yeah, I'm with you on the Pacers there. I took that. I do still like it at the 6. I also took the Mavs there. I know that's one of your leans. I actually ended up taking that last night, and I also took the Bulls. I have a bad number, 4.5. You have 5.5 or +5 right now, so obviously I still like it there. The other leans would be the Kings, so opposite you on that game. So obviously, if you're not confident in it, don't take it. And also lean towards the Lakers there. I'm not touching the Memphis or Wolves game, so nothing on that one.
Got you, man. I appreciate you coming on with me, Ronald. We do lean towards Wolves team total over as well. If you'd like, if you did like to bet that game, man. But I got to get out of here. Got to go do a show for Action Network. Go download the Action Network app, man. We got podcasts popping overnight. College basketball. They already starting to do NFL shit for next year. Baseball over there. All type of stuff, man. Go download it. Type "We Will Win" in the chat. Send positive vibes, man. Especially if you're here following someone's plays or listening to their work or whatever. Just type in the chat, "We will win," man. Send all positive vibes. It's all love. We appreciate you guys for tuning in, man. Please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, man. All that good stuff. Go follow Ronald as well on YouTube, shit, on Twitter, all that shit, my guys. We appreciate y'all for tuning in. We out. Let's get this cash, baby. We out. Let's go. Come on. We on the quest for 7 out of 7. Let's go.